Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our halfway point of our fall session. Hard to believe. 4 weeks to go. A lot to do tonight. Lots of busy work. That's a bad word. Lots of work. Forget the busy. And I'll go over it with you. I know some of you, especially for half the class is not on right now. For those who are going to miss class or not come on to class, you are really going to be confused. So I hope you pay attention to the recording of this class session once you get able to view it. We still have quite a few assignment number 2s outstanding. I want to get these grades posted no later than Friday to help you with your midterm examination. Assignment number 2 has a lot of practice for the midterm when the midterm is now posted and you're now able to download that. A nice spelling there, Mr. Hasse. Examination. Yeah, okay. So make sure you get your assignment 2 posted as soon as possible. And even if you've already posted, I'll be beginning those grades tomorrow. So if you've already posted assignment number 2, I will post those grades tomorrow. The only problem is, as there's still outstanding assignment 2s, I cannot post the solutions for those work. But if I feel that you need the solutions, I'll post the solutions individually to your specific individual grade center. Couple other developments over this past weekend. I have now designated the assignments for the members of the teams for the Road Kings trucks case, which is due the last week of class. That Road Kings case, I have split up our class into 8 or 9 teams. Of some teams have 2 members, some teams have 3 members, some teams have 4 members. And I have designated those and posted them to Blackboard, and we'll go over those in a few minutes. This is a capital budgeting case. Now we begin to talk about capital budgeting next week in our class. What I would like you all to do, I know in addition to doing the midterm, but the midterm examination, as you will see and as we'll see later on, is quite short. The main part of the work for the midterm is an essay question. You have 9 multiple choice questions. You have to update your stock portfolio. And the bulk of the midterm is 1 essay question. And we'll talk about that. So so the midterm is a different way of assessing you. A lot of it a little bit different than the assignments you've been seeing. So we'll talk about that. So in addition to doing the midterm week work this week, I'd like you all to download the Road King case files and begin to read them. Begin to read what your responsibilities may or may not be for your team in that case. Then next week and every week subsequent in our class, we will review the case, go over the points, practice some things in regards to the case so you all can work it. The thing involved here, and this is the scary part of group projects, and I'm sorry that we have to do group projects this fall session, but due to the time span of what we have time to work with, the group project makes more sense. The key thing though is you need full participation from each team member. If one team member doesn't do their stuff, it affects the other team members. So that means I need whistleblowers. And I'm sorry to use that choice of words, but if somebody on your team ain't doing their work, you got to tell Professor Hasse, and then I will kick a little butt to get going. All right. So if somebody on your team, and you can be nice and professional, but that's my job. My job is to be, all right, what's going on here? You don't get it? I can help you. But because we're limited, and you basically have 3 weeks to do this work. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of team effort. And if your teams are not communicating, that's a problem. So I need whistleblowers to tell me which team members. I'm going to be very frank with you all, and I'm always am very frank with you, but in the online remote class, some students tend to hide out. They're not participating. They participate for about 2 hours every Sunday to do their work, And then they usually ask for extensions because they can't get their work on time. That's the way it is. Goes with the territory. But you cannot do that with a group project because certain of your team members have specific time schedules and work schedules when they can get this work done. So you all have to be aware of those schedules on your team and do your work accordingly. There can be no slackers. If it is, you're going to suffer. This is an individual grade, but a team is putting it together. So if somebody's a slacker and doesn't do their job, they might get a different grade than the other team members on the group. Everybody should be aware of that. That just protects the people who do their work. All right. And I'm sorry I have to put it that bluntly, but this is what we got to do. If Brittany and Chris want a good A grade in this class and they're stuck with team members who la-di-da and don't have no idea what the hell they're doing, that's not fair to Brittany and Chris. And I will grade the work accordingly. All right. This class is a part of COLLEGE, college. What is college? Responsibility and accountability to better your career and better yourselves to compete in the world. Slackers and people who are always late will not compete in the world. Trust me, I've been working with them all my life. All right. You want to get a good grade, do your work on time and be a team player. If you want to get a lousy grade, no problem. I can help you out there too. But you don't want that. A lot of you are paying a lot of money to be here. A lot of you are want to succeed and better your career, better your job, better your own personal confidence in your ability to understand business. That's why you're here. This case will help you do that. But it only will help you if you have 3, 2, 4 team members all on the same page. All right, that's my political announcement for the evening. Thank you. Okay, we're going to talk about capital valuation tonight. Remember, there are 3 ways that a company can get money, capital. They can make a profit, they can borrow the money, and they can issue equity, ownership in the business. Those are the 3 ways that a company can get capital. We're going to talk about 2 of those ways tonight. The issuance of interest-bearing debt called bonds and the issuance of stock. Having investors give you their money in return, they are an owner of the business. One individual or one type of capital valuation is the lending of money, credit. Another form of capital valuation is ownership, stocks. Each one of those has different characteristics, different goals, both for the investor and the company issuing that capital. We're going to learn about that this evening. Once we learn about capital valuation and where we get capital, next week we get into capital budgeting. Where do we invest in assets to achieve maximization of value in the company with the help of getting the capital from the markets, credit and ownership, bonds and stock. So this is the first part of understanding how companies grow, how companies compete in markets, how companies create new products. Just yesterday, everybody's all excited, especially if you're an Apple user. Apple came out with some new products yesterday. New telephones, new iPhones, new iPads, new iToilets, whatever. All right. They came out with all this new stuff. Why are they doing that? So they can stay ahead of Samsung. So they can stay ahead of Microsoft. So they can stay competitive in the world. They have to issue new products to compete. And how did they get the capital to do those new products? Well, they've made profits from other products in the past. They've went out and issued some bonds and debt. They have stock investors. Apple, in order to Apple to stay Apple, they have to come out with about once or twice a year new products. That costs money. And I'm sure a lot of you work for companies that are in a very competitive market, whatever industry that is. And in order to stay competitive, you have to attract top people. You have to attract new markets and efficient and consumer wanted products and services. That costs money. That takes capital. So that's what we'll be talking about this evening. Okay. Before we get going on that, I just want to go over a couple of things about the Road King case and the midterm examination while you're still all fresh, wide awake, before you start snoozing at about another 45 minutes or turning off your camera and hiding in the world of the internet. Let me get this important stuff out of the way so everybody understands what we're doing. Here we go. Darlene, you need a scholarship in Wi-Fi. Did you guys aware of this? You can go to the Wilson Library and they'll give you Wi-Fi connectors that can bump up the volume of your Wi-Fi in your home. Did you guys know that?
Okay, I'll look into that.
Look into that. Call the library. No, I'm serious, and it's for free. You're a student. You pay for it technically in your fees and tuition. But as a student, you can go to the Wilson Library at the University of Laverne campus, or they can even mail it to you if you live far away from the campus, and they'll give you a booster to your Wi-Fi for your home to use. So think about that. If any of you are having Wi-Fi issues, I bet you nobody ever told you about that, have they? No, see, I don't understand this. That's unbelievable. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Here's our Blackboard site. A couple of things now. First of all, I have posted in assignments and final examination your midterm work. Okay, your midterm work. This is due next Tuesday, September 21st at midnight. It's basically 3 parts, and I'll go over those parts in a minute. Now notice I've already posted the solutions a week or so ago for assignment number 1. And you have those, and you have the results of that work. You also some of it have completed assignment number 2, and the solutions we posted there as soon as I get all the work posted by our class. The assignment number 1 and number 2 were practice for this midterm. Okay. The midterm is given to you in 2 files, a Word doc file or a PDF file. They're both the same. This examination is 20% of your course grade. At the end of this week number 4, when you post your midterm, we have completed roughly half of the grade assessment of our class. We're halfway through, and we got halfway of our grades posted up to this point in time. What I'll be doing once I get all the midterm grades done next week is, if I feel that your average is not probably what it should be, I'll be sending you a little email asking if you need any help. Do you have any issues? Can I help you with anything? Can I get you a tutor? Would you like to have some Zoom sessions with me? Just making sure you're comfortable at halfway point of our course with your grade and your status in this class. Now, some of you might just say, the hell with you, Hassie, I know what I'm doing, leave me alone. Okay, fine. But if some of you have, I know a lot of you have some issues. We have one student who's fighting fires at the same time they're taking this class. We have other students with technology issues. We have other students with family issues, sick family members. Totally understand, and to be fair, that's why I always give extensions and try to help you in any way possible. So we'll take an assessment of our grades at the end of this midterm to see where we are heading into the last half of the class. And if I feel I could be of some help to you, I will let you know. Okay? I think that's good. It's good to take an assessment. And we have to do, yes.
Quick question. On our homework assignment, if we get an answer wrong or we're missing something, will you give us feedback? Do we just get points for completing?
You always get points for completing. I'm a strong stickler of, if you show me, for example, in assignment number 1, the question number 6 or 7, where you had to do that financial statement and I was looking for 3 answers. All right. If you showed me, and even though you got all 3 of the answers incorrect, if you showed me your work, I gave you a lot of points, at least 5 points. If you showed me your work. What the hell is that? Okay. All right. So yes, to answer your question, if you just leave it blank or just put down a number or an answer, I don't know how you got that. But if you show me your work, I'll give you a lot of points. Okay. That's a key. Just show me your work. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, so if it's wrong though, if it's incorrect, will you let us know? Because if those types of questions are asked on our midterm, but we don't know that we did it wrong the first time, we won't know. We'll probably repeat the same thing for the midterm.
Darlene, you do know. If you got your assignment number 1 back from you and you got less than 100 points, I returned the file back to your Blackboard file folder in your grade center. You can download that file and see in red or highlighted yellow or highlighted green what you got wrong. And then you can go to the solutions file and find the correct answer. And many times I give you the correct answer in my response to you on your assignment. And also then at that point, hello, I'm finished, not finished yet. So at that point in time, if you're still confused, then you come to Thursday night Zoom session, or you send me an email, or you schedule a session with me and you review it. So that's the procedure. It's on you though to go to your grade center and download the file and see what you got wrong. It's on you. Okay. I give you all that information back.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And then you can review it. If you're still confused or don't understand it, I've given you the solution file that you can go and reference it, and that can be used as a study guide for the midterm. And if you're still having some problems, as I've always said in this class, I'm very easily accessible for questions and Zooming or anything. It's up to you to see me. That's the thing. And it's up to you to fit into your schedule. Mr. Hess, I'm only available on Sunday afternoons. Okay, let's meet Sunday afternoon. But you got to give me some fair warning. You just can't show up at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and you didn't tell me that you're going to show up on 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. You got to let me know. Because 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon.
If there's no comments, that means we got it all right. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, if you don't see something,
I'm good then. Thank you.
Darlene, if you don't see something in red or highlighted in green or yellow, you got it right. And some of you who got hundreds, I don't even return your file to you because you got them all right. Why should I give you your return file when you got it all right? But if you got a 98, a 99, I return the file. Okay? Cool. Wonderful. Okay. Okay. So the key thing here is I will get the assignment 2 back to you as soon as possible. So you can use that as a study guide because there's many questions on the midterm that relate especially to assignment number 2. Okay. So as I was saying about the midterm examination, here it is right here. It's already posted. You can download it. It's a series of 3 parts. The first part is multiple choice. Multiple choice. Now, as you probably can figure out so far in assignments 1 and 2, multiple choice questions sometimes aren't that easy. And the reason for that is I give you an A type of answer, a B type of answer, and a C type of answer. Naturally, if you pick the A answer, you got it all right. But if you pick the B or C answer, you got a couple of points taken away. So the key to multiple choice is reading the question very carefully and understanding that question and then finding the best answer for that question. Okay? So in the midterm examination, I give you a series of questions that highlight the first 4 weeks of our class. Definitions about finance. Definitions about financial statements. Kind of like the question we did in assignment number 1. Questions about time value of money. Questions about bonds. Questions about stock. 9 questions. Then the second part is for you to update your student portfolio. As of this Friday, September 17th. You go to the market close this Friday, September 17th, and update your portfolio. Update the Dow Jones Industrial Index as of the 17th. The Standard & Poor's 500 Index as the 17th. The NASDAQ Index of the 17th. Here's my portfolio from the very first part of class, which many of you resembled. Here's what I would do to this same file for the midterm question. I would go to the file, your file, and I would copy the data from your first part of the data. You just highlight it, hit Control C, and paste it and copy it down to here. Now you're all set to put in the information for September 17th, this coming Friday. But here's one of the key things that you have to be aware of. Remember when we did the initial portfolio, and some of us had some problems with this, is that your investment was the determination of the amount of shares you purchased. You designated the investment to total to $100,000, and then you found the opening stock price on August 27th, and as you can see by this cell, you divide the stock price into the investment, and you get the number of shares you purchased on August 27th. And I rounded this amount to a whole number, because if I didn't round it, this is what this number would look like. I don't want to see a lot of decimal points. So I rounded to the nearest whole number. So now in the second part at the midterm of your portfolio, what I need you to do, excuse me, is now you're going to be taking the number of shares you purchased and you're going to multiply it times the new stock price to get the dollar value of your current portfolio. So here's what you have to do. And I would pay attention to this because a lot of students have problems with this. When we copied this down to here and pasted it, it also copied the formulas in the shares cells. See, now the formulas are still there. Well, I don't want those there. So you got to go back up to here, highlight it and copy it, Control C, and then you want to paste it back down to your new area, and you want to go to paste. See up here in the menus, paste, you bring down the paste menu, and you want to go just paste values. You don't want to paste the entire formula. you want to just paste the numbers in those cells. And notice when I do that, the formulas are gone and my numbers are back just the way they are up here. It's just the values of the shares. Now, once you do that and you find that the stock price is for your stocks at 1 o'clock or the close of the market this Friday, September 17th, let's say Apple is $149. Bristol Myers is $66. Merrick is $80. Hooray. And Walt Disney is down the tubes at $178. Once I get those new prices, now you go to your dollar cell and put in a formula. Equals your stock price times the number of shares you have. And you get the new value of Apple. You started out with 25,000. You now have, the price went up 40 cents. You now have $25,067.29. You made money. Well done. Notice the share prices are still the same because you pasted the values, the numbers, not the formulas. If you left the formulas here and did this calculation, it would not come out. The computer, the Excel would say, this is not right. Something's wrong. We can't do that. That's why you have to change your shares to values. So I just repeat this in every column. Price times shares. They're my new value of Bristol Myers. I lost money. Price times shares. I've made money on Merrick. Price times, price times shares. And there you go. And notice now my portfolio has gone from $100,000 on August 27th to $100,757.40 on September 17th. You've now updated your portfolio through the first 4 weeks of the class and you've made some money. Some of you will make some money. Some of you might have lost some money. I want to see that. And then I want you to tell me two things in the question. I want you to tell me what was your dollar change and what was your percentage change in your portfolio. I want to see those two numbers. What was your dollar change? That's easy. Equals the value on September 17th minus the value on August 27th. Your change of $747 and $757.40. That's how much money your portfolio has appreciated during this time period. But what is that in a percentage? Very easy. Equals the dollar of the amount of your change, $757.40, divided by your original starting amount, 100,000. What percent is $757.40 as a percent of $100,000? You get a decimal. And now you just convert that decimal to a percentage and go 2 decimal points. So I have made $757.40 in the first 4 weeks of my portfolio in Business 330. And in percent, I have made 0.76%. I want to see those two numbers. I want to see your calculations for those two numbers. If you get confused in doing this, go back to this video and look at it. Also, one last thing I want you to do. I want you to tell me how you have done compared to the markets. compared to the markets. So you're going to update your Dow index, your S&P 500 index, and your NASDAQ index as of September 17th. Okay? So let's go to the stock market today and see what those ending indexes were. And let's just make believe that today is the 17th of September. So let me go there. I go to Yahoo Finance. And here's my markets. And let's bring this up. So here's Yahoo Finance at the close, or as of this moment, and I go to the Dow. I go to the Dow index. And as you can see, today it closed at 34,814.39. That's the Dow closing today. All right, I just wrote that down. Let's see what the S&P 500 closed at today. We would be doing this exact same thing on Friday or this weekend. The S&P 500 index today closed at 44,80.70. All right. And what did the NASDAQ close at today? 15,161.53. Okay, get rid of that. Now let's go back to our spreadsheet and let's say this was September 17th. And so I just looked up my Dow prices. So the Dow today closed at 34,814.39. The S&P closed today at 44,80.70. Looks like it hasn't been a very good week for the market. And the NASDAQ closed at 15,161.53. So now I have updated my indexes as of the same day that I've updated the stock prices. Now, how have these markets changed in the last 4 weeks? So what I want to do is I want to take the change in the indexes equals September 17th price minus the price on August 27th. That's the change. Same thing for the S&P 500. That's the price on the 17th. Correlate that to the August 27th. That's the change. And the same thing for the NASDAQ. This is good spreadsheet practice. Now, what percentage is that? Well, I just take my change and divide it by the price on August 27th. 641.41, that's a negative, remember, divided by 35,455.80. I get a negative, and now I convert that to a decimal and go 2 places. The Dow has gone down 1.81% in these 4 weeks. And now, just to save yourself some time, you just take the corner of that cell there and slide it over, and it'll do it for your 2 other indexes. And notice, the Dow has lost 1.81%. The S&P 500 has lost 0.64%. And the NASDAQ index has increased 0.21%. And the final question in the second question of the midterm is, did I beat the market? And in this case, the answer is yes. I beat the market. My percent increase in my holdings was better than the 3 market indexes. I am definitely the Wolf of Wall Street. This is the answers, and this is the practice you need to do for assignment number for the midterm, question number 2. You need to update your spreadsheet. I want to see your original holdings, and then I want to see your changing holdings on the 17th of September, all on one sheet. Mr. Salazar, question.
Yes. So once we update it, do you want us to copy and paste that whole updated onto the midterm, or do you want us to upload it?
No, I remember. Remember, every time we do this, I say, post your file folder to Blackboard.
Okay.
So you're going to give me 2 file folders in this midterm. You're going to give me your writing or your interpretation of the examination in a Word doc or a PDF format. And then you're going to submit your portfolio just like this. So you're going to give me 2 files for the midterm.
Okay. Thank you.
If you give me a PDF file, you're going to get 0 points.
Okay.
All right. I'll say that one more time because this seems to be a problem with some of us. If you give me or you cut and paste your spreadsheet into your Word or PDF document, I can't see your calculations. I can't see your formulas. I need to see a spreadsheet where I can go, oh, how did Esteban calculate their new value? Oh, I can see in the cell equals, there it is. Some of you do the numbers beforehand and give me the right numbers, but you don't show me your calculation. You must do it on a calculator or something. I want to see the formulas in the cells. I want to see the formulas in the changes in percentages. That's part of learning how to do this. You got to know how to do it. Just don't do it on a calculator and put $25,067.29 there. I want to see the calculation in the spreadsheet. If you give me all the right numbers and you paste it to a PDF or Word doc file, you're going to get no points for that question.
Okay.
And if you give me a spreadsheet and I don't see the formulas, you're going to get 10 points off that question. So make sure you show me the calculations and give it to me in a spreadsheet format.
Grab a bag of salad also.
Somebody needs to mute themselves. I hear conversation, please. Thank you. Okay. That's question number 2 of the midterm. Any questions? Cool. Let's go back to the midterm. So the first part is 9 multiple choice questions. The second part is updating your portfolio in a spreadsheet for Friday the 17th, not Thursday the 16th, not Monday the 19th, Friday the 17th. And then tell me how your portfolio has changed in dollars and percent, and compare those changes to the changes in the Dow, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. And then just answer yes or no. Did you beat the markets? Now the third and last question on the midterm. It's an essay. It's an essay. Discuss the potential impact of the recent financial crisis, the pandemic of 2020 and 21, on the capital structure of one of your portfolio companies. Now, some of you have done a lot of work already in the first assignment on one of your portfolio companies already. So you got a lot of this data already. How has your selected corporation changed from January 1, 2020 to March 31st, 2021? How has it changed during this financial crisis period of the pandemic? Please cite examples of financial statement analysis, corporate governance, and competitive markets. Now, what is that in English? Financial statements analysis, you already know. Earnings per share, debt ratio. Remember, debt ratio is part of the capital structure of a company. What's corporate governance? Has management changed during this time period? Have there been people fired or new people brought in to run the company? Has the management structure of your organization changed during this year? That's corporate governance. Have they been sold? Has the company been sold? Has the company changed in any way in its physical makeup? In some cases, maybe some divisions were sold or declared bankruptcy. And finally, how have the markets changed for this company that you selected? How has their competition changed? Your essay should be a minimum of 2 pages and not to exceed 10 pages, double spaced. I don't care about APA format. You don't have to give me a title page. You don't have to give me references. Well, you have to give me references, but you don't have to give me table of contents. You don't have to give me all that other stuff. Just do the writing and show me some references, because you have to cite. If you don't cite these 3 things, you're not going to get full credit. Financial statement analysis over that time period, you select which ones you want to do. How the corporate governance has changed in that time period, and how have their competitive markets changed in that time period. So this is going to require a little research. 2 to 10 pages. Not 1.5, not 1 3/4, 2 pages to 10 pages. And I'll even give you the benefit of the doubt here. If you want to put this essay together and send me a draft, I will review it for you and let you know if you're going in the right direction. Okay? If you want to do this draft and do this essay and send me a draft and say, Professor Hasse, here's what I got so far in this. Is this good? Is this what you're looking for? Okay, good. Yeah, looks great. Keep on trucking. So you have that option of doing that. Don't send me the other 2 sections. Don't send me your answers to the multiple choice, and don't send me your answers to your portfolio. But if you want to send me your draft of that essay, I will review it and let you know if you're on the right path, because this is kind of new territory for a lot of you. And I want to make sure you're going in the right direction. Brittany, question.
Yes, did you want it in an email attachment or just in the body of the email?
No, I want it in a Word doc file folder.
For the draft?
Well, yeah, but well, I see what now you're asking. Well, if you want to copy and paste it into an email, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I would think it'd be easier just to do a Word doc with a draft, and then you just attach the Word doc to the email. You don't have to cut and paste anything. I think that would be a lot
Some
easier.
professors don't like attachments, so that's why I was just trying
Some
to
professors
clarify.
don't like attachment. What are they, Republican? That's a joke. Okay. We'll move on for that one. That's my only political comment I can get away with today without being lamified. Okay. So no, Brittany, any way you want to give it to them. If you want to put it in an email, that's fine. What do you mean they don't want attachments? They don't want to take the time up to open them? What a bunch of morons. Okay. So just any way you want to give it to me, that's fine. I just want to help you and make sure. So some of us, some of us get a little skittish about this. Mr. Hasse, I don't have much finance background. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to do the best I can. Can you just let me know that this is okay? And please feel free to take advantage of that if you want to. Excuse me. So as you can see, this is kind of a fruit and nuts type of examination, a combination of a lot of things. Basic definitions and some calculations in the multiple choice, but there's only 9 of them. You update your student portfolio, and you got an essay. Now, if I was you, this is how I would do this. Right away, either today, not today, but tomorrow or before the weekend, get these 9 multiple choice questions out of the way. Answer them. Do them right now. Do them on your lunch hour. Find time very quickly to get those out of the way. And then on Friday and the weekend, you can concentrate on your portfolio, and it gives you a little time to do a little research and do your essay. But you got to leave time. Let's say Paulette wants to send me her draft, or Brittany wants to send me her draft. Well, don't send it to me Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Okay. Or don't send it to me. Well, you can send it to me Sunday night at 9 o'clock. I'll answer it on Monday. But don't send it to me Monday night at 9 o'clock when it's due that night at midnight, or Tuesday night at midnight. Give me some time to get back to you. Because remember, I got how many students? 26 students here. If all of you are going to be sending me your drafts, I'm going to get a little bit backed up. So just give me the benefit of the doubt there to give me some time to look them over properly. But I would kick those 9 multiple choice questions out right now. Maybe even after class tonight, because we'll be done by 7:30, 8 o'clock. So get those out of the way and then concentrate. You can't do anything on the portfolio until Friday when the markets close. So then you got some time to really concentrate on the essay and do it right. Okay. So that's the midterm. And again, if some of you need extra time next week, it's available to you. Okay. But remember, at the same time you're doing all this, you got to download and start reading that Road Kings case. Maybe get a little bit of communication going with some of your team members and begin that process. And here's what that, does anybody have any more questions on the midterm? I can't wait to 4 more weeks and I get the hell out of this class. Good God Almighty. Let me out of here. This Hasse is brutal. He might be funny. He might be jovial, but he's a pain in the you-know-what. Get him out of here. Okay. Dustin, you're supposed to laugh at that. Don't look so serious. You look like you're going to stalk me. Dustin. All right, there he is. Now he's smiling. Okay. Rudy, any update on the fires for us?
Back home, I don't know. Dixie Fire's still going. Coldwater Fire's still going. They're all going.
All right. Chris LaRusso, anything you want to tell us about your life?
Not really.
You're a smart man. Thank you. All right, now let's go to this. Let's go to our Blackboard site. You know now where the midterm is and ready to go. Remember, you're posting 2 files, at least 2. One, your Word or PDF file, which shows the multiple choice questions and your essay, and then a separate spreadsheet file for your portfolio. Don't forget. Now, there's some more fun things now in our Blackboard, which you probably already know of. If you go now to a new file folder on the left called Road King Trucks Assessment Case Paper and click on that. Wait a minute. Sorry. Hang on. Just a sec. Momentary glitch in the operations. There we go. Bring this back up. You will see this. Good Lord Almighty, they say. Can you put a few more files into this case paper? Good Lord, Hasse, what the hell are you doing? Everybody see this on your screen? Okay. Now, first of all, there's a lot of files here that are duplicated. You see a PDF and you see a doc file. Okay. So those are the same thing. I just give you to you in different formats. But what they are is the case analysis paper or file, which tells you the actual case, an introduction to the case, which tells you what I'm looking for, a deliverables file, which tells you how I'd like you to write it, a rubric, which tells you how I will grade it, And then, this is probably the most important to you, all of you, I give you a sample of this case paper with a different company, but a sample of the case paper that you can see how it is done. You can download that and see a sample of how the case paper should look like. All right. I would suggest you download these and read them in the next week. Okay. Just read them. See what the material is. All right. And then, as you can see, I've put you all in teams. Now, some of you requested to be on teams, and I honored those requests. If in the next couple of days, some of you say, I don't like this, you don't have to tell me the reason why. I will create and give you another team. All right. If you want to work by yourself, I will honor that. If Chris sends me an email and says, Professor Hasse, you know, I'm not into this group stuff, I will take the responsibility of doing all this work on my own. I will then say a prayer for Chris, do a couple of Hail Marys, and say, Chris, go at it. You're on your own. Let's get into it. So if any of you want to do that, be my guest. But understand that's a pretty hefty, this paper should take 15 to 20 hours to do. That's why I break it into teams. In the old 10-week calendar, you had 6 to 7 weeks to do this. Now you got 3. That's why we're in teams to help us out. And as you can see, I've allocated one team member should concentrate on questions 1 and 3. One team member should concentrate on question 2 and 4. One team member should concentrate on questions 5 and 6. That's how I would break it down. So if you have 2 members on a team, you're going to have to divvy those questions up. If you have 4 members on the team, you can maybe have one person do one question, another person do another question, or however you want to do it. But that's how it should be broken up. And then each one of your team members would do the work on those questions, and we'll get into that next week, by the way. And then you put them all together into the paper. So here are the teams. And again, if you want to work by yourself, I will honor that. And I will help you any way I can. And we will talk, we will have time, we will spend about a half hour every week, starting next week, on this case and looking at it and helping you. Because it's going to correlate to our reading in the text. So if you want, and if you don't like, Mr. Hasse, I'd rather be on a team with 3 people instead of 4. All right, let me know and I can fix that. Now, another thing. So this is where all that work is. I've given you a sample case paper. This paper is in APA format. Here's a little video about the correct format you should use. But the sample paper will give you that format anyways. But if you want to watch a video about it, there it is. Also in the coming weeks, I will have subsequent videos about the work in this case posted to this file folder, and we will review them in class. Now, there's another file right here called Road King Trucks Group Case Study. This file here, if you click on that, now you're going to see a different version than I am. You will just see the group that you're in. Here I'm listing all the groups. But you'll see just the group that you are in, and you can click on that, and you can exchange files through this group. You can send email to just your team members. You have different ways of communicating with your group, or you can just, I already gave you their email address. You can start emailing that. In the past, I have had some teams and some students use Slack or text messaging and set up a network of text messaging amongst their team members to send files or do whatever. You can be as sophisticated as you want. But the key thing there is you all have to initiate communication and begin to work on this no later than the end of next week. This week, you got to worry about the midterm and getting to know the case. But next week, we really need to start putting this sucker together. And I will help you. I'm going to give you a checklist next week of things you need to do by those questions. And I'll show you those questions in a minute of how to get this done. This case is part of the accredited assessment of this course in your MBA, in your business administration program. In order to get a business administration degree, you got to do this sucker. It's required by our accreditation. Every business student should know how to do a capital budget analysis. Every business student should know how to do a paper interpreting and explaining a capital budget analysis. It's part, I did it in I did it many years ago when I got my business degree. It's part, and I was going to a college in the East Coast. It's every business school. If you want to say that I'm an accredited business school, you got to have a class where this type of paper or case is given, or it ain't worth nothing. Trust me. I know that sounds. Rudy, what's your dog's name?
This is Bravo. He's a Doberman and he's 9 months.
I wish you'd feed him. He looks like he's eating your hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a ball.
His name's Bravo,
Yep.
and he's only 9 months.
9 months.
Good Lord Almighty. Okay. All right. So there's the case. There's your teams. There's the files. Let's start getting organized. But let's get the midterm out of the way first. And then we have a couple of weeks of spare time. There's no grades in week 5. There's a small assignment in week 6. Now's the time, beginning next week, to start putting this sucker together. And what is this sucker? Let's take a look at it. Here's the Road Kings case. Basically, you're a consultant to this company. This company called Road King Trucks, which is based in Southern California, needs to make a decision as a new business model for their company. Their competitive markets are changing. They have built construction trucks, large manufacturing trucks for years, but now they see their market changing. They see the market in Southern California to mass transit, to producing transit buses. So they want to put together a plan to produce a transit bus. How much is it going to cost them? And can they make money off this change in their business model? I give you a breakdown of what the company's history is all about, what their opportunity to do this is, and their decision. They want you to help them make the decision should they do this. And they have an option of 2 products, 2 transit buses. One bus with a Detroit engine and another bus with a Marcus engine. Those are the 2 products. The reason why the 2 engines, they determine the cost of the overall production of this bus. You, as a team, have to answer these 6 questions. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Hang on. Hang on. Just a sec. Momentary. I got too many files open, so its memory is not working very good. So let's bring up some more memory. Hang on. There we go. Okay. You have to answer these 6 questions. So your job in this case paper and your teams, and that's why I organize the questions by team member, is to go through and answer these questions and do whatever analysis is necessary to fully answer them. And in the next couple of weeks of our class, beginning next week, we'll learn how to do these calculations in our class. So that's why I just want you to read this and understand and see what's going on, because I give you all kinds of detail about the cost and the revenue of this project, about how to determine the cost of capital, their investment needs, and the cost of the money and how they're going to finance it. And you got to put all these together to determine whether they should invest in this transit bus with the Detroit engine or the transit bus in the Marcus engine. And when Apple Computer came out this week with iPhone 13, somebody probably about 18 months ago did this analysis for the iPhone 13. If Rudy works for the state of California and the government, and they need to go and purchase some new fire engines, somebody in the state of California does this analysis of which fire engine they should buy for the best possible cost and the best possible value. Somebody does this analysis. If Paulette works for a manufacturing company and they produce a product, before they even sell that product to a consumer, somebody does this analysis to make sure that they are going to make an adequate enough return for the cost of the money it took them to invest in it. That's why this is so important to a business degree. Everybody does this. Now, I know what you're saying, Paulette. Mr. Hassey, I'm never going to have to do this analysis in all my career. Why do I have to do it now? Because, Paulette and anybody, if you say somebody on your resume that you have a business degree, they're going to assume that you know how to do a discounted cash flow analysis for an investment. Even though it has nothing to do with your job, if you want to be a boss someday, you're going to need to know what a discounted cash flow analysis is for an investment. If any of you want to be an entrepreneur, a bank ain't going to give you money if they ask you, where's your business plan? What's your return on investment of the assets? Oh, well, I remember Hassey talked about that about 10 years ago, but I don't know about that now. Well, guess what? I'm not lending you the money until you show me that. Damn. So that's why this is so important. Don't let the data and all this volume of information freak you out. It's like a puzzle. We'll be putting together a puzzle by our teams, and we'll start putting that puzzle together next week in our class. Now, I strongly urge you, if you're going to miss a class in the next 4 weeks, make sure you get your hands on that video of the recording of the class as quickly as possible. If you miss it, you could be in serious trouble. Mainly serious trouble because you won't be able to do the work, your share of the work for your team in this case. And then as we discussed earlier, that's a problem. So download this work this week and just read it. Maybe take some notes. Oh, I kind of know what's going on here. I have no clue what's going on here. Because we're going to be studying this over the next 2 to 3 weeks of our course and correlate it to this case paper. Damn, sure glad I got up this morning. Midterm examination, assignment 2, Road Kings, reading. Good Lord. Bravo's driving me nuts. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Now, I know if you have, does anybody have any questions about this? You probably don't, but if anybody has any questions about this or any questions about the team selection, the responsibilities of the team, ask. Anybody? Okay, cool. All right, let's go back to our Blackboard, and then we're going to do this one thing, and then we're going to take a little break. We got to feed Bravo. Well, let's find our Blackboard here. Okay, I'm back in our Blackboard site. Week number 4. Open that file folder up. You'll see our agenda. You'll see a spreadsheet here. When we come back from break, I'm going to be doing some examples of stocks and bonds in this spreadsheet right here. You can download it and follow along with me, or just note it and download it later on when the class is complete. Here's a video that I gave you as my introduction letter last night about explaining what bonds and stocks are. It's a pretty good video. And here's a little description of what we're talking about this week about stocks and bonds. So what I'd like to do now is let's get me a chance to catch up on all my files here for you, get some cleaning up of my screen here. Let's take about a 10-minute break, and we'll come back at 6:50 p.m. and continue on in our discussions of the topic this week: capital valuation, bonds, borrowing, stocks, ownership of chapter 6 and 7. So I'll see you back here in about 10 minutes. Okay? Adios. Okay, we're back. Our topic for this evening, and again, this has to do with corporate finance. Capital fundraising. Individuals, like if you and I wanted to start a business today, or if you work for a sole proprietorship and even a partnership, you can only have certain access to capital. Usually, mainly either a bank loan or some private investors. You're limited by the amount of capital you can raise because why? And the number one reason is collateral. Collateral. When you and I get a car loan, we are going to get an amortized loan, meaning we have to pay interest and principal payments right away from the beginning of our payback. And the reason for that is the bank has to have their risk covered. So they want to start collecting interest and principal right away on that car loan or that mortgage. The collateral is if we don't pay, they take our car and house away from us. That's the collateral. That's the difference between what we can raise in capital and what corporations can raise in capital. Corporations can raise hundreds of millions of dollars because they already have a lot of collateral in the assets of their company already, or in the products and the markets that they serve. Huge amounts of collateral because they're a large corporation with lots of assets. So when they get funding, like in a bank and a loan, they can issue unamortized debt. Unamortized debt is bonds. In other words, they can go to the market, to you and I, to insurance companies, to pension funds, to foreign investors, to foreign countries, and issue huge amounts of debt. And all they have to do is pay back the interest until maturity. There's no principal payments. It's unamortized. They just have to pay interest until maturity. And that's what a bond is. That's why corporations can get away with that, borrowing huge amounts of money, because they don't have to spend a lot of cash flow until they have to pay it back. And in many cases, they get 5, 10, 15, 20 years to pay it back. The advantage there goes back to that one word, collateral. They have the resources to back up the loan. I'm teaching a freshman accounting class this semester on Monday and Wednesdays. And one of the topics that came up today in accounting class was the students wanted to understand their student loans. And we were talking about interest calculations, principal times rate times time equals interest. And no one in the financial aid office ever gave them an explanation of what a student loan and how it works. And one of the reasons, and probably one of the reasons, they don't want to scare them away as students. But you didn't hear me say that. But one of the advantage of a student loan is because it's uncollateralized. If you're a student, you can get any type of student loan you want. And the reason for that is it's a guaranteed student loan, meaning somebody, the government, the state of California, your parents, your guardian, your employer, somebody is guaranteeing that loan, so they're going to give you the money. What that means is the bank is going to get paid no matter what, because if you don't pay, whoever signed as a co-signer on that loan, they're going to pay. And that's why we get student loan funding. Somebody is guaranteeing that to the banks. Bank's going to get paid no matter what. So it's uncollateralized loan. It's somebody as a co-signer. That's what drives the student loan industry. But in corporate America, it's a different story. Corporations need vast amounts of millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. So in order to attract capital, they have to have a credit rating. And that credit rating will determine the interest on that bond. Well, let me give you an example of that. All bonds are issued in $1,000 lots. The cheapest bond you can get is for $1,000. So if you go into Wells Fargo tomorrow morning and say, hey, dudes, I want to buy a bond. They'll say, is that a treasury bond? Is that a corporate bond? Is that a state of California bond? I don't know, I want to buy a bond. Okay, you got $1,000, you can buy a bond. That is called the face value. It's the face value of a bond, $1,000. All right. So what happens is you say, okay, what kind of bonds are there? Well, how much interest do you want to earn off this bond? Well, the inflation rate is about 4 or 5% now in California. How about 7%? Ooh, that's pretty high. Well, I can sell you a Ford Motor Company bond, 10-year maturity, with a coupon of 7%. All right, what's that mean? It means if I tell Wells Fargo, all right, let's buy this. I'll give Wells Fargo $1,000. They'll probably charge me a fee, but we'll forget about that for now. And they'll give that $1,000 to the Ford Motor Company, and Ford Motor Company is going to borrow that money from you. And they agreed to pay you back in 10 years. And every year they will pay you interest of 7% on that $1,000 loan. Welcome to the world of bond financing. So let's say I go to the bank tomorrow morning and I have $1,000 and Wells Fargo takes my money. They charge a fee. They'll charge a fee to me, and they'll probably charge a fee to Ford. And give Ford $1,000. So that means, let's say, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's September 16th, 2021. All right, that's Ford. Let's say Ford just issued that bond, so it'll be due 9/16/2031. So on 9/16/2031, Ford is going to send me a check for $1,000. Good Lord Almighty, I got to wait 10 years to get this $1,000. That's what a bond is. At the same time, every year on September 16th, they will send me interest of $70. That's 7% of $1,000. So every year I get 70 bucks, and in 10 years, I get my $1,000 back. Good investment or bad? Well, it depends who you are. If you're Professor Hasse, who's an old gangster, who's already made his money and wants security and safety, this is an attractive deal. If I die in the next 10 years, I'll just will that money over to my kids. At the same time, I know every year I'm going to be getting a check for 70 bucks. And I know that I'm going to get my money back in 10 years, $1,000. And it's very little risk. I don't think Ford is going to go out of business in the next 10 years. And even if they do go out of business and in bankruptcy, I'm at the very top of the list to get paid of the creditors. I get paid first. So they sell off their assets and I still get my money. This is called a fixed income investment. I know exactly what I'm going to get and when I'm going to get it. That's the nice thing about it. But for young people like you all, it's not too sexy, is it? This is boring. I got to wait a year to get 70 bucks and then I got to wait 10 years to get 1,000. Why don't I buy into a solar wind fund and have an opportunity of making 20% a year on a new investment in stock? Here's the problem for the investor like you. It's not guaranteed. You might make 20% in 2021, but in 2022, you might not get nothing. Whereas if you buy this bond from Ford Motor Company, you know exactly what you're getting. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's one thing. And number two, you know when you're getting your cash flow. You know you're getting $1,000 every September 16th every year, and you know you're getting $1,000 in 2031. You know exactly. If I buy stock in a solar wind fund or a solar wind company, there is no promise to pay anything at any time. That's the risk of ownership or equity. Now, take a look at it in the side of the corporations, Ford Motor Company. It's perfect for their financial management. Why? They know when they got to pay the money. They can set up their cash flow because what is Ford doing with this $1,000? They're probably issuing $500 million of bonds. That's a lot of $1,000 bonds. And all those people are lending in money. And you know, every September 16th, they know they have to pay out 7% of that money as interest. They know exactly when their cash flow is happening. So they'll invest all that money that they're getting from the public in bonds and invest it in assets that are going to generate that kind of revenue and growth over the next at least 10 years. They can lock it in. That's what we're going to be talking about next week in chapters 8 and 9, how to find the assets to return this investment to your investors. And that's what you're doing in the Road King case. You're determining what it's costing them to get the money. In this case, it's 7%. And is the products going to generate enough revenue to warrant that investment by your investors? That's what you're doing in Road King case. And that is the basis. 65 to 70% of all corporate financing is done in the bond market. Why? It's safe, it's conservative, thus it's attractive to a lot of investors. And I'm sure if any of you look at your 401ks or your pension funds or your IRAs and take a look at where your investment managers have invested your money, I bet you most of them have invested it in stocks. But I bet you $100 that some of them has also invested some of that money into fixed income investments with guaranteed interest payments and maturity dates. It's called a balanced portfolio. So I'm sure that's happening in all your retirement funds. Probably in most of them, it's mainly stock. But the older you get, your investment managers are going to start switching over to bonds to lock in the interest and lock in the payment schedule. Because with stocks, there's no payment schedule. You don't know what you're getting until you cash out or get dividend checks. And that's a crapshoot every quarter. So that's an important thing to know about bonds. As an investor, it's fixed income. It's guaranteed payments. As a corporation, it's fixed expenses. You know exactly when you got to pay these suckers out. That's important. Bonds are unamortized debts. It's interest only until maturity. It's interest only until maturity. Now, let me give you a hypothetical case. Okay, today I went into Wells Fargo and bought this $1,000 bond. But let's say in 2 years, I don't want to wait 10 years to get my $1,000. Can I sell this Ford Motor Company 10-year 7% bond in the market after 2 years? You sure can. You can take it to your stockbroker or go to Wells Fargo and say, hey, put the word out. Does anybody want to sell me or buy from me this 10-year bond? And now we see a new definition, a new term that's going to determine what we can get for this bond in the market. It's called the current yield. So let's say 2 years go by and I decide to put a swimming pool in my backyard. And I need this $1,000 that I have invested in Ford Motor Company as a payment as to help me purchase and get this swimming pool in my backyard. So I call up my broker and say, hey, dude, I've now had this bond for 2 years. I've gotten $140 in interest. There's 8 years to go. I'd like to sell it. And your broker or your investment manager would say, no problem. I'm sure there's a market out there because the interest rates in the market now, the current yield is 6%. Now, because I took Professor Hassey's class, I know exactly what he or she means by that. Right now, this 10-year 7% Ford Motor Company bond, if the Ford would issue that bond today, 2 years later, they would get an interest of 6% on that bond in the market. Not 7, but 6. Why? The market has changed in those 2 years. Interest rates have dropped. Supply and demand for money has changed. Ford Motor Company's credit rating has changed. The current yield is what the market would be willing to buy this, or issue this stock or purchase this bond, bond, now 6%. Well, what that means is, as an investor, doesn't mean anything to Ford. They still get their money. Somebody's buying it anyways. It means that interest rates have gone down. That means the price of this Ford bond has increased. Why? Because in order, if I was an investor now, let's say Brittany wants to buy this bond from me. And Brittany says, hey, well, I could use $1,000 7% bond. It has 8 years to mature, but that means I get 8 years of $70 payments and I get my money back in 8 years. So I'm going to buy this from Professor Hassey. So she goes to her broker and the broker goes, you're in luck, Brittany. Rick Hassey wants to sell you his bond. And Brittany goes, well, how much am I going to have to pay for it? Well, Brittany, remember, the current yield is 6%. That means you're going to have to pay more than $1,000 because you're going to pay more than $1,000 because you're going to get 7% money in a 6% market. You're going to have to pay or sell it and purchase it at a premium, which means over $1,000. she's going to purchase 7% money in a 6% market. She's going to pay more than $1,000 for it. And how do you calculate that price? It's something we learned last week. The present value. What's the present value of this 7% bond in a 6% market? Here's how you calculate that. Let's update this portfolio. Here's the $1,000 bond. Its coupon is 7%. That means we're getting $70 payments. It matures in 10 years. After 2 years, the current yield is 6%. What is this value now? Okay, what is this $1,000 bond valued at now? 7% in a 6% market. Formula, function, financial, present value, PV. Did this last week. Now, the interest rate in the market now is 6%. That's the current yield. The number of periods remain is 8 years. We're getting $70 every year in payments, 7% of $1,000. We're getting payments of $70 in a market of 6% with 8 years remain. The future value is we're going to get the $1,000 back in 8 years. 6% yield, 8 periods remain. The coupon is $70. I put in minus 70. The future value is $1,000. This 7% bond in a 6% market, $1,062.10. In other words, it's great for me. I'm selling it. I need the money. I'm going to get $1,062.10 on this bond today. I'm going to be making even more money. You're making $62.10. On the other hand, for Brittany, who's doing the buying, she's buying a 7% bond in a 6% market to lock in that 7% or $70 a year. She has to buy the bond at a premium, $1,062.10. That's the bond market every day. If all worlds were perfect, you would just hang on to this bond for 10 years and get your $70 payments and get the $1,000 back. But sometimes you have to sell the bond before maturity, and the current yield in the market will determine that price. And what determines the current yield in the market? Remember way back when in our first lecture in this class, I showed you all those market indicators. Remember that? All those market indicators? And one of those market indicators was the 10-year United States Treasury yield, the risk-free interest rate. As those rates change up or down, that influences the current yield in the market. That is the market. And that's what drives us. Now let's give you another example. Let's say after 2 years, the current market yield goes to 8%. It increases to 8%. If Brittany wanted to buy this bond now from me, a 10-year with 8 years remaining, 7% bond in a market of 8%, what would she be paying? Formula, function, financial, present value, The rate now in the market is 8%. Aha, it's gone up. The number of periods remain is still 8. The coupon payment is still $70. And the future value is still, you get your $1,000 back at the maturity. But look what has happened to the price or the value of this bond, a 7% bond in an 8% market. Whoop, it's below $1,000, $942.53. That is called selling the bond at a discount. Now for Brittany, it's cool. She's buying for $942.53. She's getting $70 a year for the next 8 years and getting the $1,000 at the end of those 8 years. Why? Because she's getting that money cheaper, because what everybody's paying now is $80 a year. She's getting 7% money, so she's paying it at a discount. Now for me, Professor Hasse, who's selling the bond to Brittany, I'm getting a little reamed because interest rates have gone up. I'm only going to get $942.53 instead of $1,000. I'm losing out here. Now there's a method to this madness. Yes, these calculations are important, and how I showed them to you here is important. But here's what's most important. You're understanding how if the yield in the market changes, asset values go up or down. Asset values increase when money is cheap, interest rates are low. Asset values decrease when money is more expensive, interest rates go up. And this drives the corporate world. Should I borrow money today if I think inflation is coming up and money is going to become more expensive next year? Maybe I should do my borrowing of money today. Any of you guys ever buy a house and somebody said, hey, you should have bought this house a year ago. Money was cheaper. Interest rates were lower. You would have had to pay less. Damn. Or should I wait, or should I wait and borrow in the future if I think money is going to be cheaper? Maybe I should hold off buying that car until next year or the year after, when I think my interest rates are going to go down. And why they might go down might have nothing to do with the economy. I just feel that my credit, my FICO score is going to get better. I'm going to pay cheaper interest on a loan because I have better credit. So I'll hold off on buying that car now because I know in the next year I'm going to get a pay raise. I'm going to be making more money. I have less debt. My FICO score is going to go up. I can get a cheaper car next year. That's called financial management. And companies, corporations are the same way. That drives their strategies of creating assets and borrowing capital, how they think interest and the cost of money is going to change. That's huge. That's what I need you to get out of this discussion. So if somebody comes up to Marissa and says, hey, Marissa, you thinking about borrowing today? And she says, no, I'm going to hold off because I think money is going to get cheaper in the next year or so, because I think the administration and the Federal Reserve is going to keep interest or lower the interest rate. And the person will go, damn, another student who's had Hasse in finance. You know what's going on. Or maybe I decide to buy my house today. First of all, I can't wait in Southern California any longer. Prices are getting too expensive. And also, too, money is the cheapest now it's going to be. So I better buy my house now because I can get the lowest interest I can today. My credit is good. I have no debt. I can get a 2 3/4% mortgage. Now's the time to buy the house. You're doing exactly what corporations do every time they have to determine about the future of investing capital in new products and services. How much is the money going to cost? That's huge. I'm sure a lot of you one of your driving factors of going to college and get a college degree is how expensive is it going to be? How much money do you have to pay out? How much money do you get in the grant or scholarships? How much money your company is willing to pay? That's a driving factor, and you're making one of the main factors and driving factor of whether you're going to get a higher education or not. When is the right time for you to get the value from learning at the same time at the cheapest possible cost? It's a gamble. And you're measuring that into your ability to finance in the future. And you need to get this college degree now because you want to, your company's going to maybe give you a new job or a pay increase, and they're not going to do it unless you get this degree. Okay, let's get this done. That's called financial management. That's called financial strategy. And you're going to be doing the example of this in the corporate level in the Road Kings case. Should they buy and invest $1 billion? The Road King case is $1 billion. Should they invest that today at the cost of their money and see what this return is on these potential products, or should they wait in the future? That's your analysis. And one of your team members is going to crunch the numbers. Another team member is going to crunch the analysis and determine what this tells you. That's the Road King case. So understanding the concept of the cost of money, both today and in the future, is very important to that strategy. And that's what bonds are all about. Cool. We'll save this and repost it to Blackboard. Let's go back to our, oop, not there. Let's go back to our whiteboard. Now, that's chapter 6, bonds. Stocks are chapter 7. And stocks are a whole different animal. And here's the one word that makes stock different than bonds. You're an owner. You're an owner. A bond, you're a creditor. You've lent the money. In stocks, you're an owner. Now that can mean two definitely different things. It's always cool to go to your homeboys and say, hey, I had a good day in the market today. My Apple stock went up. Of course, your homeboys, if they're smart enough, would say, so did you sell your stock? Did you get the money? No. So what are you gloating about? You didn't get anything today. Just because your stock went up in price, that doesn't mean anything. So shut up, dude. Talk to me when you sell the stock and you make a lot of money. Oh yeah, talk about a humbling experience. But that's what the stock market is. You don't get any money until you sell. All right. With bonds, you're getting the money all the time. You know when you're getting it. You're getting interest payments every year and you're getting your money back at maturity. With stock, the only way you get any money, yes, you do get some dividend payments every quarter or every year, maybe, but that's not guaranteed. And you got to sell the sucker to get any money. So when some homeboy comes up to you and says, boy, I'm sure glad I opened up a Robinhood account. I made 15% this past week. Oh, so you have 15% sitting in your checking account? No. What are you talking about? Who cares? That 15% could go down 20% next week. So don't talk to me, homeboy. Get out of here. See, you guys are laughing because you've been there. Hey, I opened up a Robinhood account. I know I'm a rich, shrewd investor. I know what I'm doing. Give me a friggin' break. The only time you're a shrewd investor is when you come up with the dinero and you make the money. It's sitting in your account, cash. So don't talk to me about, oh yeah, I bought Robinhood stock at 36 and it's up to 55. Oh, you're going to sell now and get the money? No, I'm hoping it goes up higher. And then next week you go, hey, how's your Robinhood stock? It's down to 30. I lost all my money. See? What are you talking about? But this is why we buy stock, because usually you buy ownership in a business for the long term, right? You're going to usually hang on to it for a while. I buy stock in a company not because I want to buy groceries next week. I buy a stock in a company because I want to invest for the long term and generate cash flow into the future. I could care whether I have groceries next week. Hopefully, if I'm a smart person, I got enough money left over to buy groceries. And that's what investing is all about. My friends called me up the other day and said, Rick, we're going to Vegas this weekend. First of all, really? You know, there's a lot of dudes running around there who haven't been vaccinated, breathing on chips and dice. You really want to go there this weekend? Well, yeah, I think it's safe. Okay, well, that's one crisis averted. And the second one is, you know what? I don't have any disposable cash. I got all my money invested right now. I got about $200 to my name in my bank account. Well, why don't you sell off some of your investments and get it? Let's go. Are you crazy? That money's earning money. Why am I going to take it out? It's earning money. So, all right, I'll go with you maybe in December. We'll go at the end of the year. We'll play golf and we'll go and I'll have some money then. We'll go at the end of the year. No, we got to go today because we got to watch the Raiders next weekend. Get out of here. All right. So I'm not going to Vegas. Because why? I just did a financial management decision. Oh yeah, I could have sold off some of my investments, taken out of my savings account, taken out of my money market fund, cash out my Robinhood account. I could have done all that. But why? I'm earning money there. Why do I want to take that money out, go to Vegas with a bunch of homeboys who are going to get drunk, watch the Raiders, and I'm going to lose money at the dice table? Yeah, that might be fun for about 3 hours. After that, I get COVID and I come back and I infect everybody. Get out of here. I'm not going. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But that's a financial management decision. Now, when you're 21 years old, oh yeah, let's go to Vegas. Who cares about money? Let's go. But when you're 25, 30, 35, 40, and you're investing for the future, for your kids, for a new house, for a new car, for a vacation, you know, let the idiots go to Vegas. I'll go to Vegas. We'll eventually go to Vegas, but I don't need to go now. You know, I made this kind of humorous and goofy, but that's the exact strategy that goes through corporate boardrooms. Is now a good time to do this investing? Is now a good time to borrow money? Is now a good time to issue stock? What are our competitors doing? Maybe we have to do this to stay up with our competitors. Maybe we should do this because money's too expensive now. Our revenue streams aren't there because of the pandemic. This is one of the things, I'm giving you some hints here in question number 3 of your midterm. How did your company that you selected change in management and strategies and returns in the year of the pandemic, 2020 and 21? Can you pick that up? Can you see that? Can you find it? That's the essay question on the midterm. Okay. That's the primary reason to buy stocks. You're not going to get rid of them. You're going to hang on to them for a while. You're going to let them grow. Be patient. Now, some people own stocks, you know, they're the day traders who own stock for 10 seconds and then they dump them. You really got to know what you're doing there. But for most of us, you take money out of your paycheck, you put it into a 401k or a pension fund, you get some spendable cash, you buy an IRA, and you invest it in the market for long term. Why? Because you want to retire when you're 55 instead of 65. Why? Because you want to buy a new house. You're getting sick and tired of dealing with toilets that don't work. No, because I want to get rid of this Ford Fusion that has 195,000 miles on it, and I want to get a BMW. That's why you do this stuff, for the future. And that's what makes stocks so attractive than bonds for investors. It's the potential of the future. In bonds, you know exactly what you're getting, and it's not too sexy. It's there, you know it's happening, and it's not too exciting. In stocks, the potential, especially if you selected the right firm that's being managed efficiently, the potential is to make a lot more than 7%. last year, and can I tell you this? Ah, the hell with it. Last year, I made 33% on my portfolio. 33%. Now, again, if I was Rudy, I'd say, yeah, Mr. Hassey, did you cash it out? No, I didn't. So I haven't made anything, but my fund has gone up 33%, a third in 1 year. So even if I lose 5% this year, which I won't, I'm still well ahead. My future is pretty good. That's the advantages of stocks. And if you pick them correctly as an investor, and companies that you pick are managed efficiently with good managers and financially secure, again, going back to chapter midterm exam question 3, corporate governance. Is the company managed efficiently and well? Or have they had a change in command? Have people been fired? Leadership positions. That has a lot to do with the future of this company. Corporate governance. So that's part of this lecture tonight, is understand the definition of bonds and stocks, but also how this fits into looking at the future of companies, the future of financial strategies, the future of, hey, I made 33% this year. That means maybe I can buy my car in 2 years instead of 3 years, because I'll cash out and buy my BMW. I'm not going to buy a BMW. I'm too old for that nonsense. But you know what I mean. And also for me, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm an old gangster. I'm going to die in about 10, 15 years. What am I doing now for my investments? I'm protecting my kids, my wife, my family. That's what I'm doing. I don't want to blow that. I don't want to invest in something that's going to be a loser. So I'm investing for taking care of my family when I'm gone. They'll have that money. And they'll say, you know, he was a son of a gun when he was dead. I mean, when he was alive, but when he was dead, he's a cool guy. He left us a lot of money. Thank you very much. Get out of here. Can't you die a little sooner? No, that's an awful thing to say. I'm talking about myself. Okay. Chris LaRusso, I got to say something. Do you know the actor Ted Daniels? Ted Daniels, no. Do you do you know the actor Jeff Daniels?
Yes.
You are split. You look like him, dude. You look like him.
I used
Yours-
to really look like years ago
Now-
when I had hair down the middle of my back, but
Well, he's in a movie right now on Showtime or home HBO where he's playing a sheriff in a rural county. I can't remember the name of the movie. It just started last weekend, and I'm telling you, he has a goatee. You look just like him. Too bad you don't have his investment portfolio. You wouldn't
maybe
be
I
here.
can work on.
You can work on that. But you look just like Jeff Daniels. I just wanted to say that. He's one of my
Thank you.
favorite actors. That's why I was saying that. Okay. Okay. So there's our topics for tonight. The definition of what a bond and a stock is. Understand that definition, and more importantly, put it in the context of the future. With a bond, the future, you know exactly what's happening. When you're getting paid, how much you're getting paid. In a stock, you have no clue about the future, but the potential, the expectations is for longer term and good growth. That's why you're an owner. And company managers have to know this. With bonds, they know they have to manage their assets to pay off these bonds at whatever cash flow is demanding of those bonds. Then they have to satisfy their owners, their shareholders, with long-term growth. And when you guys become successful businessmen and women, entrepreneurs, running your companies, that's how you're going to be successful. Can you manage the cash flow to pay off the debt? And can you manage the expectations of your stockholders to grow the company every year as long as you're in charge? That's why they'll pay you the big bucks to be a CFO, a CEO, or that's why you'll have a successful entrepreneurship business, because you're balancing those two capital items, borrowing money and making the payments, and investing in the long term of the company to provide return for your stockholders, for your Shark Tank boys and girls. And that's corporate finance. And that's going to be our theme heading into these last 4 weeks is what do we have to do to guarantee those cash flow payments for our debt and to give growth to our stockholders? Because if you do that, you're a successful financial manager. And I'll leave it there for this evening. Remember, if you came in late or missed part of our discussion of the first hour or so of class, we have a midterm examination to do this week. It's posted in Blackboard. It's due next Tuesday. It's multiple choice, a portfolio adjustment, and an essay paper, an essay on describing one firm in your portfolio. And a lot of you have already started and done a lot of that work already in one of your assignments of this class. So that's the cool thing about that. You've done a lot of the work already. And then you begin to familiarize yourself with the Road King case by maybe looking it over and reading it. And we'll get right into the meat and potatoes of that next week in our class. Anybody have any questions? A lot of material. I'm going to be available tomorrow evening, Thursday, 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 o'clock on my student hours Zoom site. If any of you want to come on and talk about the midterm, the assignments you've taken already, your grade, opening up a Robinhood account, anything you want to talk about. Making sure we can get Jeff Daniels in here to introduce him to Chris so he looks like him. There might be some connection there or whatever. I'm available Thursday evenings always to come on. And also I'm available at all the time to fit your schedule if you need to talk to me. But this is our 4th week of our course. This is a good time to assess how we're doing by doing the midterm. This is a good time to plan with our teammates a major paper that we have to do over the next few weeks. So a lot going on. And I'm sorry it has to be remote and this online stuff, but I think you guys are doing fine. The grades have been good. I know we're balancing some things here with giving extensions, and I don't have a problem with that. Everybody should know you don't lose any points by getting an extension on the work. That's for everything in this class. So don't feel like you're getting shortchanged or you're doing something wrong by asking for extra time. That is farthest from the case. So remember that, please. You guys are busy. You're fighting fires. You're cutting your hair. You're playing with Bravo. Paulette, I don't know what that background is, but it's freaking me out. And you're doing a lot of things. So let's get these next 4 weeks under our belts and we can call ourselves corporate financial managers and we'll move on. So thanks everybody. I'll post this video by tomorrow morning of this class. Maybe see some of you tomorrow evening in our student hours and look for your assignment 2 grades to be posted within the next 48 hours as soon as you get them into me. If you already posted them, I'll get those grades out to you very soon. Thanks everybody. Have a great week. Stay healthy. If you're going to Vegas, wear a mask. If you're going to Vegas, don't bet on the Raiders. As long as they have Derek Carr as quarterback, it ain't going to happen. So just remember that. That's today's financial tip of the week. Don't bet on the Raiders. Dodgers, they're going to be a wild card team. They're going to play the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, yeah, they're going to play the Reds. They're going to win that game. And then the Giants are going to take them in 3 straight. And that's the end of the season for the Dodgers. Go to Vegas and bet on that. You'll have a nice return on your investment. Thank you very much. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm a Dodger fan. I'm just doing this to get you all excited. So thanks, everybody. Have a good week. We'll see you all later. Adios.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Good night. Get out of here. Go. Leave. Bye.
Bye bye.
Get out.